and welcome to Jessie Bear Book Club. Today we are going to be reviewing A Dangerous Inheritance by Alison Weir. This review has been broken into two parts. The first part of this review came out last week and covered Katherine Grey. This is the second part of the review and covers Katherine Plantagenet and her respective story. Before reading this book, I had never heard of Katherine Plantagenet. I was vaguely aware Richard III had an illegitimate son, but no daughters. Katherine's early life seems to have been very nice. She was brought up as a lady and for all intents and purposes was treated as if she was legitimate, forming a close bond with her stepmother and Neville. She loves both her brothers, John of Gloucester, who is also base-born, and Edward of Middleton, their father's heir. I did a little bit of research and Katherine Plantagenet is a real person. The only blot on Katherine Plantagenet's life seems to be wanting to meet her mother, but she knows that she holds her mother's name, Katherine, and that seems to content her, and the fact that she is loved and well cared for makes her life happy. The book opens with the death of Edward IV and all the drama that goes along with it, seeing everything from Richard's point of view. Through his daughter, who loves him, was interesting, but you get a suspicion straight away that Katherine knows that her father can say one thing and do another. He claims to be very devout, but fathers bastards, and she wonders about Richard's love for his wife Anne, knowing that he never got a dispensation to marry her. Katherine Plantagenet, even though she has never met any of the Woodvilles, truly, deeply believes they plan to do her father some harm. Kate Plantagenet witnesses the execution of Buckingham, and even though she knows it was unlawfully done, she cannot comprehend the fact her father is in the wrong, which makes sense because she trusts her father. He has looked after her and always told her the truth. Why wouldn't she believe him now? Seeing the Dowager Duchess Cecily of York here compared with her in The White Rose about Elizabeth of York was great. I really enjoyed how manipulative Cecily of York was. She was playing for power. I think she really wanted her son on the throne, not her grandson, especially a half Woodville grandson. If Alison Weir was going to do a lot of Wars of the Roses books, I would love one about the Rose of Raby, or Proud Cis as she was also known. Richard's grab for power is justified in Kate's head, and she can't understand why her stepmother Anne is so uncomfortable with it. It is interesting to see how Richard III changed his attack from calling his brother Edward a bastard and his mother a whore to calling Elizabeth Woodville's children bastards and their marriage invalid. I'm pretty sure Proud Cis took her youngest son away and had words with him. Kate starts a relationship with her first cousin, John de la Pole, at her father's coronation, and it's just flirty. I find their relationship hard to invest in because I know it's fictional. Kate's obsession with the princes in the tower, I think, is completely understandable, with all the gossip swirling around the court and around her father, and this is something that touches her father's honour very closely. I think Alison Weir was very clever in the way she put forward both arguments for what happened to the princes in the tower, one being the Italian monk's account of Richard III killing the boys before the coronation, and the other account being from the bishop, who says that the princes are still in the tower. It was definitely a good way of putting forward both arguments that were popular at the time for what people thought had happened to the princes in the tower. Kate's relationship with John de la Pole isn't grabbing me though. As I told you, I know it's fictional, but Kate's marriage to the Earl is where all the juicy drama lies. When Edward of Middleton dies, it affects Richard III and his Queen Anne very badly. Richard starts losing his hair, and I'm not really sure how any of this affects Kate, apart from her being sad. At this point in the story, she is more upset about her coming marriage than anything else. I understand why Alison Weir put in the romance with John de la Pole, but it's not my favourite part of the book. I understand that Katherine Plantagenet's story is meant to mirror Katherine Grey's story, and the de la Pole relationship leads into Kate supporting the De la Pole cause and rebellion later on. I keep getting confused because Katherine Grey's timeline moves really quickly. At this point in her story, she is 21, but Katherine Plantagenet is only 14 or 15 after the Battle of Bosworth. So one story is rushing ahead while the other one's tottering along. It's easy to forget they're not moving at the same speed. After the Battle of Bosworth, Kate's world really has come crashing in around her. I feel very sorry for her. In a short amount of time, she has lost her stepmother, her little brother, and her father, the king. She really has nobody left who cares for her, apart from her husband, who now sees her as a problem and a tie to the last dynasty. I really wanted to slap his face when he was horrible to her. I think if Kate hadn't died young in childbirth, she probably would have turned into a sort of Margaret Pole figure, because she was a countess after all. I still wish we had got a little bit of Elizabeth of York and Kate interacting. I think if Kate had been willing to talk to Henry VII, she might have been happier and longer lived. I'm not surprised that Henry VII wanted to talk to her to try and figure out what had happened to the princes in the Tower. That is a great question historians are still struggling with. Did Richard III murder his nephews? And it drives Kate completely wild trying to clear her father's name. It is interesting trying to see Kate place all the puzzle pieces together to find out what happened to the princes, but she can't seem to figure out that people can be bad and good at the same time, probably because she's so young and has a black and white view of the world still. I really like Kate's perception of Henry VII. He looks like a clerk with thinning hair and bad teeth. She doesn't like him at all, and it's such a contrast to how he's described by Elizabeth of York in The Last White Rose. But why is it that only Katherine Grey gets interludes involving Elizabeth I and Cecil? I would have liked some interludes with Henry VII and Margaret Beaufort, really. It seems unfair that Katherine Grey got more time in this book, but probably because Kate Plantagenet is so unknown. And her whole affair with John de la Pole, I couldn't really give a toss about because it's not true. I give Kate Plantagenet's story 5 out of 10. Could have done with more detail, and I didn't like the way it was short compared to Katherine Grey's being long, but I understand why you had to do that. There's only so much story. They both have to fill the same amount of pages. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. I have a full Alison Weir playlist packed full of reviews. Until next time, don't lose your head. Bye!